Welcome everyone to the first hearing of the Subcommittee on Oversight. Today we are here to shine a light on something that should be deeply concerning to every single American: how our justice system was allowed to become weaponized against political opponents. Early in his presidency, Joe Biden told the nation, "It's not my Justice Department, it's the Justice Department." Former Attorney General Merrick Garland promised the same thing. That was their promise, but we now know it was a lie. For the past 4 years, it was not the People's Justice Department. It was a political weapon used to go after anybody the Biden-Harris administration felt needed to be attacked. Let me lay it out clearly, case after case, so there's no confusion on what happened. Let's start in the great state of New York. Alvin Bragg ran for Manhattan DA, focused on only one thing: targeting Donald Trump instead of cleaning up the many problems facing New York City. After years of searching, he revived a dismissed case with the help of former DOJ officials and used a shaky legal theory to turn misdemeanors into felonies. And it wasn't just Bragg. New York's Attorney General Letitia James also made it her mission to go after President Trump. She campaigned on it. Prosecutors, attorney generals, they shouldn't campaign on politics. They should campaign on justice. She campaigned on it, and she promised voters she'd, quote, exact quote, "get Trump." Before even seeing a shred of evidence. And sure enough, once in office, she followed through, twisting civil statutes into weapons for political gain, targeting not just Trump, but his entire family business. In Fulton County, Georgia, Fani Willis also campaigned on prosecuting President Trump. She coordinated with the partisan January 6th committee and the Biden White House from Georgia, and hired her romantic partner as the lead prosecutor. Couldn't make this stuff up. I guess office romances can sometimes take you places. For Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, it was tropical destinations. It was luxury hotels, all on the taxpayer's dime. And while they were busy enjoying the perks, the cases they were building against Trump were falling apart under the weight of conflicts and impropriety, because it was pure political lawfare. I want to just note, no one should run for DA, AG, or any legal office. Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, nobody should do this with the sole goal of going after one political figure. It's not what those jobs are about. That's not justice. That's vengeance. Our legal system isn't supposed to be about personal grudges or political payback. It's about fairness. It's about impartiality. It's about the rule of law. That's supposed to be the standard in America. Unfortunately, under President Biden, that standard wasn't just abandoned at the state level, it was shattered. It was shattered at the federal level as well. Jack Smith was unconstitutionally appointed as special counsel. His lead counsel pressured a defense attorney with a judgeship offer to flip a client. So if the client flipped, he'd get a judgeship. Smith admitted to altering evidence in the Mar-a-Lago case, evidence tampering at the highest and most important level. Pure political lawfare. The FBI conducted an unprecedented raid on Mar-a-Lago, the home of a former president. They ignored standard protocol. They didn't wait for President Trump's lawyers to respond. They didn't use a local field office, and they bypassed all typical legal channels. Pure political lawfare. The FBI also targeted religious institutions. You couldn't make this up again. And parents. They labeled traditionalist Catholics as domestic terrorists, traditional Roman Catholics as domestic terrorists, and considered spying on their churches, on their priests, on their parishioners. Think about that. I really want everybody to think about it. Forget the politics for a minute. The FBI was planning to spy on grandmothers clutching their rosary beads in prayer, treating them as if they were a national security threat. If they can do this to Catholic churches, and this is the important part, what's stopping them from doing it in any place of worship, to Protestant churches, to Jewish synagogues, to Muslim mosques, or to Hindu temples? It was Catholic churches one day. It could be any of those another day. It could be you. If you think that sounds far-fetched, I want you to just take a look, if you get a chance, to what they did in my home state. In New Jersey, the FBI raided the largest Hindu temple in the Western Hemisphere, home to some of the most peaceful and spiritual people on the face of the earth, Hindus. Biden's FBI stormed the temple. He invaded private quarters, religious areas, and held guns. They held guns to the faces of swamis, holy men, some of whom were wearing nothing but their evening wear, their night wear, their pajamas. These are individuals devoted to peace, nonviolence, and prayer, yet they were treated like dangerous criminals in an aggressive show of force. It's wrong. It's un-American. And it didn't stop at places of worship. The DOJ also turned its sight onto parents, moms and dads, grandparents who dared to speak up for their children at local school board meetings. Instead of seeing concerned citizens, the Biden administration saw potential domestic threats. They used counterterrorism resources to monitor and intimidate parents simply for voicing their concerns about what was happening to their own children in their own classrooms. The DOJ even weaponized the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance Act, the FACE Act, to target pro-life advocates. This doesn't even matter if you're pro-life or pro-choice. Again, it could happen to anybody. Take Mark Houck, a peaceful pro-life activist and father of 7 kids. In a blatant show of force, the FBI sent a SWAT team to his home, raiding it, and a pre-dawn raid with guns drawn, terrifying his wife and his children. Whether it's people praying in churches or parents speaking out at school board meetings, the message from the DOJ, from Biden's DOJ, is clear. If you practice your First Amendment rights in ways they don't like, you will become a target. Could happen to any one of us. This is pure political lawfare. The Justice Department slow-walked the investigation into Hunter Biden, allowing statutes of limitations to expire, tipping off defense lawyers about search warrants, and ultimately offering a sweetheart plea deal that nobody else would ever get. Meanwhile, the DOJ was slow-walking investigations that might make the president look bad. The full force of the DOJ was aimed at President Trump and any, even worse yet, people that didn't sign up for this, any of his allies. Just look at the timeline. After announcing his candidacy, President Trump was indicted 4 times, twice by partisan DAs and twice by an unconstitutionally appointed special counsel. I'm sure my Democratic colleagues will say that it was not coordinated, but it was. And I'll say it was pure political warfare. What I've laid out is just the framework of what this Judiciary Committee uncovered last Congress. It was the work of this Judiciary Committee and our chairman, Jim Jordan, that did that. My colleagues, we will dig deeper into each case. I pledge to you that this committee, this subcommittee, is going to dig deep and dig hard and find out the real truth. And the reason is not because we want to rehash everything in that ugly, ugly past. The reason is we never, ever want it to happen again. It shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or conservative. It could happen to you. I want you to really think about it. It could happen to your church. It could happen to your mosque. It could happen to your synagogue. It could happen to your temple. It could happen to your school. It could happen to your cause, whether on the right or the left. It could happen to your beliefs. It's un-American. It's wrong. This should never happen again. Our justice system should be blind to politics, blind to personal beliefs, and focused solely on fairness and the law. Under Attorney General Pam Bondi's leadership, this administration, this Congress, and this subcommittee are working to restore integrity to the DOJ for everyone, all of us. We will ensure that never again will our justice system be used as a political weapon. I thank our witnesses, all of you, for being here today, and I look forward to your testimony. I now recognize the ranking member, Ms. Crockett.